boy Garth. What's it like to learn? This is for not me. What's it like to learn Colin's songs? Some of them are really tricky and complicated. What's your process, and how long does it take to get down? So how does it go?
How does it go?
Oh, man.
Imagine pulling your brain apart very slowly without anesthesia. But then, once you put it back together, it's like, wow, now I know more.
See,
In a roundabout.
mine is similar, but not exactly as gruesome. I'm fully aware that like my parts on their own sound pretty weird. It's a lot of hopping around to different places, playing notes. But then you realize I like learning an individual part in really anything as complex as what Colin writes. It's you're gonna sing it and like read it. It's like reading a choir part. You're like, what does this even mean? Like, how does this even fit in? And then you get together with the band and you're like, oh snap! And then you listen to the demo and your part in there, and you're like, holy crap! This is like a puzzle piece in this like 6-piece puzzle we've got going on right now. And each part brings its own kind of thing. And so when you listen to it yourself, it's hard to memorize it. It's hard to learn it. But when you put it into the grand scope of everything, it's a lot easier, and you can kind of get a picture of what it needs to sound like.
I would have to agree with Eldon. I mean, it's very painful for me just because out of everything, Colin is more of a drummer than anything. So, I mean, you can definitely tell, not that he doesn't put his heart and soul to every part, but he likes to make
Spice it up.
things that have never been done before. So it's very cool once it's all put together and it's all worth it. But the process of learning is sometimes very frustrating, but it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, I definitely like the way that Eldon put it. You know, it might each part individually might sound super complicated, but Colin also does a great job in kind of separating everything on a Google Drive for us, so it's super easy to. But yeah, no, the music is awesome. It's super.
I learn by ear mostly, so like just in general. So having everything on the Google Drive is nice. I think it's probably the most fun stuff to learn because Colin pretty much derives most of his bass playing from like Fall of Troy stuff, which is always fun to play. And honestly, I think the bass parts in Winter Wayfarer are probably the most fun bass parts I've played. So I don't know.
I have the good fortune of usually being there when Colin's writing my parts. So I can usually either say, yeah, this doesn't work, or yeah, I don't want to play that.
And it helps when you're writing for violin because
Mhm.
Colin, I don't think you're a violinist all too much. You know how the violin works, but you're not a violinist yourself. And when
Right.
Marty's there, it kind of helps with that writing process.
To kind of bounce off of Marty, because Marty's part in the band is different, and when I write for Marty, now that he's in the band, I basically am writing for him because there are some things that I believe, given the time that I could play on keys, but it would definitely take me a long time. The stuff that I wrote for Keep Close was not as in depth at all as compared to what I'm doing now, and especially with Marty being in the band, I know that I can take more liberties in writing for keys and violin. It's a lot more freeing in that regard. So, and then the back. Well, actually, he's got 3 questions. The second one is the Keep Close story is one. I guess this is mainly for me. The Keep Close story is one you've had in mind for a long time. Where did it come from? What themes and other works have inspired it? What does the story mean to and for me? For me. So the first part of that, yes, Keep Close is very old. I first started. I first started writing what became now Keep Close. When I was a sophomore in high school, I am now 24, and
I don't think I can do that. With
I can't do Eldon. You look like what was the Adam Sandler movie?
oh, Little Nicky.
You look like
Little
Little
Nicky.
Nicky.
I
Get it
have no
right
idea
in.
what that is.
Oh
That's
man,
good.
He plays like the son of Satan.
yeah, really funny.
You look like.
Anyway, sorry,
Elvin,
Colin.
Elvin, you look like you're gonna tell me that your dad just doesn't understand you.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
a
Well, he
phase.
doesn't. So
Okay, so Keep Close. Yeah, I've had that in mind for a long time, since I was a sophomore in high school. I remember actually waking up on December 28th of whatever that year was, like 2010 or something. 2011 maybe. I woke up the morning of December 28th and I had a computer in my room at the time. Pretty much now I just live out here in my studio. But I got up and I just started typing, and the story was way different back then, but overall thematically very similar. Same main character name, that kind of stuff. Where did it come from? I guess that's its origin story. I don't really know. I just have always been inspired by music that is told in a story. I like movies. I like things that have reprises and motifs. That's why I'm drawn to bands like the Deer Hunter. Stuff that comes back. There's a reward, I think, when you're watching a movie and they reference something. Of course, narratively, it needs to happen. Nothing would make sense if it was just stream of conscience. And with music, I love it when I hear a song, maybe even on a totally different record, that references something that happened earlier. What themes and other works have inspired it? I mean, the Deer Hunter, having a narrative. That's the easiest band that I can reference that has an actual narrative going on. There are lots of concept records out there. I mean, if you talk like Frank Zappa or Dream Theater or just any like progressive
22.
rock, or any progressive rock or metal band that's existed for a long time, they all have concept records like Tool and whomever. But as far as like a running narrative, that really inspired me when I learned that about the Deer Hunter. What does the story mean to me or for me? It's kind of a way for me to write music through a scope that's different. Right now I'm working on a record that is much more personal for me. It's much more me basically saying, hey, this is what I feel, or this is an analogy for what I feel, or have gone through or something. And the stuff in the story that I do and Keep Close, that is kind of a way for me to build a character off of something that I feel like I can relate to and write about, but something totally different that I also am trying to write about that I don't know. It's an experiment. It's kind of like the difference between I can't remember the terms, exoticism and localism or something like that, but basically writing a type of music that is not native to you or not local for you.
Good band.
It's that kind of thing. And it's also a way to romanticize and totally pretend that my life is more exciting. And then his last one, this is definitely for all of us. What's our go-to beer?
Oh,
Good
I
question.
don't know
I'm
if you
gonna
guys
get-
have heard of this one yet, but it's the your Wise Eyes local porter.
you
Marty,
drank
are you
too much.
gonna edit this like Tim and Eric stuff, or please?
Is there enough to edit this Tim and Eric style?
I was gonna say define shortly.
I don't know if we have enough
the
content.
weird zooms and like
Yeah.
all that dumb stuff. But anyway, let's answer
But,
the question.
Maybe wanted to take another shot at that.
Yeah, take 2. Let's
Take
go.
2.
All right, Ryan.
Oh, I'm not. That's not my actual answer, so I'm not going to do it again.
Okay, then answer.
Wow.
I'll
go
start.
Oh, why do I have to go first?
Kaz, go ahead.
Well, you were answering, and then you were like, and you
It was a
fucking.
joke. It was a funny answer.
Thomas
a
saw
funny-
this coming. I've been very, very stuck on the Founder's Breakfast Stout for 3 or 4 months at least. It's just absolutely fantastic.
An old go-to that I had was Bell's Oarsman Ale. It was a tart wheat ale. I missed that one. I should go back to that again.
I actually need to edit my statement because I know exactly what Jake was going to say. But yeah,
I think I know
double
you're
Elvis, that milk stout down at Big Boiler Brewing in Lincoln. Jake and I tried that. That's actually what completely changed me from maybe an IPA guy to a stout guy.
This is go-to though.
Well, whatever.
If he could go to it, he would.
Yeah.
Go-to is the breakfast stout because it's local and I can get it all the time. But yeah, the Double Velvet Elvis, best of all time.
Well, for me, this might surprise you guys, but I'll have to say Hams.
What?
Who would have thought, dude? Who would have thought?
I know.
It's actually funny, guys. If you can't see it because it's behind the camera, but there's a pyramid of Hams cans in Jake's room.
Is there?
There probably isn't.
Fresca.
Nah, there is one Hams can there.
One Hams.
Jake, have you ever built a tower out of hams? A ham tower?
Oh yeah,
Or
Ham
a
radio?
hand
Yeah.
staff.
Make a radio
I
out
built
of
a
hams?
couple
Exactly.
in quarantine.
You what?
Yeah, I've built a couple since quarantine started, so I like to pick it up though.
I think my favorite.
Shout out to cleanliness.
I think my favorite, which I don't know if they'll ever brew it again, but it was during Wise Eye's Dark Beer Week or whatever, and they had a stout called the Gavel
Mm-hmm.
that was like maple, cinnamon, and something else. And it was the most rich, not too sweet stout I think I've ever had in my entire life. But they only did that for like a week or two. I think I don't really go out and buy cases of beer or 6-packs of beer very often, but the Copper from
Copper Alt from Zipline.
from Zipline is, if I'm going out to buy like a sixer, that's probably my favorite to buy. But if I'm going to like a brewery, it would be the High Priestess, because that's what they usually have on tap there, and I like porters. So
I want to add to mine a little bit because I was considering saying it. So my go-to is the Oarsman Ale from Bell's because that's an old go-to that I've had, and I could still do it any time of the year pretty much. And I know I can always buy that. Another go-to that I would have if other people had good taste and Wise Eye kept brewing it would be Le Flaneux. I love that beer.
that was good.
It's like a saison, but it's like hoppier than most. It doesn't have like the it doesn't have the overly banana clove thing going on, but it's still there. But it's also really, it's got a bite to it, and I love it.
Yeah, that was a good Sison.
You all right there, Jake?
He's doing great.
Are we
What about
moving
you,
on?
Eldon? I don't think Eldon answered. I don't know if you drink beer that
Um,
often.
I don't drink beer super often, but if I had a choice of like a 6-pack that I could drink, and if I was from Wisconsin, I would drink this beer called,
Natty
it's an
Ice.
ale called Spotted Cow. Shout out to Pierce for showing me this beautiful tasting beer. I'm not much of a beer guy, so I couldn't tell you why it's good, but I taste it and I'm like, that feels good.
You get what do you get?
Corona, it's Corona time.
No.
Let's go.
You get a mixed drink. It's
Dos
like
Equis,
green.
man.
Dos
You
Equis.
get. I can't remember what you get. They're
Oh
like-
no, it's blue. It's called a Ziploc.
Nah, I knew it was Zip.
Also
I knew it
apple
was Zip.
teenies and Ziplocs.
Yeah, you get Ziploc every time of the 2 times I've drank with you at a bar, you get Ziplocs every time.
Because I'm a white girl.
I've
Same.
tried one of those spotted cows though. My sister Kylie brought me to try one.
They're nice. They're smooth. It goes down easy. It's a tasty
I
drink.
agree.